Hello, people. Welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. I know I'm supposed to be having some time off, but the Leeds United rumour mill, whatever you want to call it, keeps ticking over nicely. And we've got some more news to bring you today on the latest Leeds. I mean, it's dropping into daily Leeds, really, isn't it? But you know what I mean? I don't want to commit to that. Especially when I'm supposed to be having time off. So we'll go with the latest Leeds for now. Remember, there'll be no midweek fix tonight either. That'll be coming to you on Thursday. Amir and Gary will be back together on Friday for Thank Football. It's Friday, so make sure you join us back for that as well. If I'm looking a bit red, I've just spent 9 minutes on the sunbeds because, you know, I can't get away on holiday at the minute, so I'm spending it on the sunbeds, yeah, trying to tan up this ginger skin. But before we get into the video, as always, please do smash a like on the video. We've been getting crazy numbers of late on the channel. I want to, honestly, genuinely, it means the absolute world. Thank you so much. We're so close to 10,000 subscribers as well. If you could make that happen, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Yeah, so smash a like, subscribe, comments, notification bell. Plenty of interaction on yesterday's video, both positive and negative, but that's okay. Make sure you get it in. We're going to start, first of all, with some huge transfer news, really, in terms of Leeds United's future. Victor Orta was taking part in a webinar for Training Ground Guru, scouting and recruitment sort of, day where people will, I assume, pay or maybe just watch Victor Orta speak about his work. And basically, he dropped the bombshell that he intended for Leeds United to continue to run with a smaller squad under new boss Jesse Marsch. I always assumed it was Bielsa's fault, right? Like, that's what everyone told us. We have a small squad because of Bielsa. Bielsa doesn't want any additions. Well, it seems that Victor Orta's taking that and running with it. So maybe Bielsa was never the problem. I'm just putting it out there. Listen, you know that I love Marcelo Bielsa till I die. But what I'm saying is, it's quite interesting that Victor Orta is now coming out and saying, look, this is him verbatim, word for word. I believe in a project that is one of Marcelo Bielsa's legacies. If you believe in youth development, you need to prove it. Our idea is that we have 18 professionals and the other 4 players all with under 23s because we believe in youth development and want to give responsibility to the academy. He said it's true. It is a risky strategy. He did bring up the positives and said, look, the other day we win a difficult game against Wolves with Charlie Creswell, Sam Greenwood and Christopher Clarkson on the pitch. The other day, Joe Gelhardt scores to make it 2-1 against Norwich. And Lewis Bay is in the team that beats West Ham. So yes, massive pluses to the Bielsa ethos and his legacy that's been set down. But is that a dangerous tactic moving forward for Leeds United? I think we've seen this season it is. I accepted Marcelo Bielsa's little intricacies because it's Marcelo Bielsa and what he did for my football club. And rightly or wrongly, he took a lot of stick from other sides of fans for this, small squad. However, Victor Orta is now running with that. He's put a lot of, emphasis on the young players, like your Bates, like your Clarsons, Joe Gelhardt, etc. Now, you're not always going to be as lucky as Leeds United have found themselves under this regime. Because, yes, Joe Gelhardt, massive plus. I mean, Victor Orta was on record as saying, would I rather spend 1 million on Joe Gelhardt or 500 million on a 31-year-old? I know that's hypothetical, he just threw it out there. Would I rather do that? Then, of course, I'd rather go for Joe Gelhardt. My response to that would be, okay, yeah. So why did you spend our record highest fee on on Rodrigo Moreno? Like, come on now. Like, you can't. That doesn't really swing with me. And a Joe Gelhardt signing is one in a lifetime. Like, we were very lucky to even get that done. Like, if Wigan are not in turmoil, he doesn't come to us. He stays at Wigan. He proves himself more in the Championship and goes to a bigger club than Leeds United. It's facts. It's facts. A lot will say, well, yeah, there was already bigger clubs in for that. And yes, but why did he choose Leeds United? Marcelo Bielsa. That is my opinion, right? It might be wrong. It's just my opinion. Creswell already been here. Dad played at the football club. They aren't a ten a penny. They don't come all the time, as we've seen. There were many young players brought in this regime. Like, look at Jordan Stevens, who we picked up. He's playing at Barrow, and these were players that we, were acquisitions. you know, Rafa Majuka. There are many, many more that we've not seen any, you know, more of. A lot of the luck that we've got with our current crop, they were already at the football club. They were already at the football club. Archie Gray's been mentioned. Again, someone that was already at the football club. Somerville. I think the jury's still out on Somerville, but that's just my opinion. We'll wait and see on next year if he's closer to the first team. You know, Melier, yeah, young signing, great. But you know, there are also some stinkers in there for Victor as well. And I think to say that, you know, on one flip side and say, yeah, well, I'd rather get a Gelhardt than a thing. And I understand that, but you also did spend the most Leeds United have ever spent on Rodrigo Moreno. Okay, he's playing well of late, but how many false dawns have we had? I just don't think it's fair to make that comparison. You know, so yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one. Look, he says, I create these answers because it's worth millions long term for the club. To build players is really important. Of course, that's the preferred ethos. I understand it, and I go along with it. I just think it is a very, very risky strategy to announce that, and to also say that under Jesse Marsh that we're going to go the same way. We're going to go the same way. A lot of cynics will say skint. We're skint, you know. Victor Orta says, I need to get buy-in from everyone at the club, from first team, from office staff, from ticket sellers. But it is how and who they recruit that will ultimately decide whether we are successful in the long term. And this is what I'm saying about some of the current crop. You know, Joe Gelhardt, we got lucky with. Sam Greenwood, still flat as to deceive for me. Tyler Roberts is another one that we spent money on that I believe the club felt they could get a quick turnaround on. I think West Brom still wanted him at the football club at the time. I just look at a number of players that have come in, and yes, Joe Gelhardt is the anomaly. I still think the rest, and obviously Ilian Melier, Pascal as well, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but I mean, you just have to look at what happened this season. The club told us that the reason there wasn't that much investment was, first of all, it's very, you know, particular type of player that Bielsa likes. Does that fall on deaf ears a little bit now? Possibly. And also a lot of the squad in that first season were injured. So therefore, when we come back second time around, all them players won't be injured. And therefore, you know, it'll be like a new team, a new squad, okay? In principle, I understood it. Didn't work out because everyone got injured again. So are the club running the risk of thinking, right, well, third time lucky, we will have no injuries because we don't have Bielsa anymore. And therefore, you know, they won't be battered. Well, look to the Wolves game, we had 4 players come off injured. So sometimes the training methods doesn't matter because Click gets smashed in the face, Melier gets took out by Raul Jimenez. You know, there's all these different permutations that you can't always, you know, just say, oh, well, now Bielsa's gone, we'll get no injuries. So therefore, you know, small squad will work again. Because that has been the stick with which we have beaten Bielsa with as a fan base. And now we're being told, well, that's how we're going to move. That's how we're going to move forward. It is quite interesting. It is quite interesting. And look, there have been successes. I repeat myself again, Joe Gelhardt, but you get lucky with that one. You do. You get lucky, man. If we're going out in turmoil, they don't come here. Melier, Pascal, excellent, but there is a lot of flops in there as well. There is a lot of flops in there. And there's a lot that the jury's still out on as well. People disagree with me, but Klassen, Greenwood, Somerville, I don't know if they'll be first team starters for Leeds United moving forward if we want to progress up the league. That's just my opinion. You know. But Victor Orta, he said he knows it's risky, but their ideal, Leeds United ideal, not Bielsa's, although it may have been taken from it, says 18 professionals, the other 4 players, all with the under-23s, because we believe in youth development and want to give responsibility to the academy. Of course, having that sort of ethos enables us to bring in a Lewis Bate, for example, which was a huge coup at the time for Leeds United and still is. And I believe he will go on to have a great career. So maybe, you know, there is the few gems. But I just look at this season and seeing that, you know, the spine was ripped out of it. Okay, we might not be as unlucky next season, but if that was to happen again for a period of time, we're then relying on the 23s again because we're not going to outgrow the 18 players. The club's happy to maybe some in, some out, but the number's not going to increase. So there's always going to be a heavy reliance on the young players. And can Jesse Marsh get the best out of these young players like Bielsa did? That's what remains to be seen, you know? That's what remains to be seen. You know, many people have disagreed with this. You know, 18 senior players plus 4 from the under-23s. It just doesn't seem enough. It hasn't been enough. It's worked under Bielsa. Will it work under this new regime? Leeds United just going to continue with that. It looks that way. So it might be another frustrating summer for Leeds United. Bit of a bombshell, I've found. Bit of a bombshell. But guys, I want to know your guys' thoughts. Like, you know, remember, people in these comments, Bielsa got battered for it, yet the club are now okay to run with that. You know, is it a positive? Is it a negative? Do we need to continue to blood the under-23s but bring in more squad players? Does that mean we have to increase the squad size, or is it a case of we're going to have to move a lot of players out? It really is a bit of a bombshell and one to really ponder. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments to that Victor Orta bombshell. And yeah, I will see you all in a bit. Thank you as always for watching the Just Joe Football Show, and I'll see you now. Peace out. Leeds.